Joining us here in the studio, Publicus Asia founder and political strategist, Malou Tiquia, and the Dean of UST Faculty of Civil Law, Attorney Dean Nilo Divina. Malou, glad to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you for the invite.
And of course, Dean Nilo. Good to see you again, Dean. It's
Thank you
been
for having me.
a very, very long time.
Yes.
Let's just go first on just a reaction on what happened on the first regular session day of the 20th Congress. Of course, no surprises there. We really knew that, at least we thought, that Cheese was going to stay as Senate President and Martin Romualdez was going to keep the speakership post. Malou?
Well, over the weekend, there was not, the numbers were not yet there for the speaker. That is why you see certain legislators like Congressman Albi Benitez declaring his independence. Congressman Frasco also declared his independence. Davao Bloc, that is, that is not a surprise. So I guess, yes, but you see the sudden ascendancy of Congressman Sandro Marcos as majority floor leader. And that is striking to me because that means it will not be a safe months of leadership for Speaker.
How do you mean by that?
They're probably preparing Sandro to be Speaker, probably not in the first regular, but in the second regular or third regular. In the Senate, it was, as you said, originally it was 18-5, so there was one who probably kind of decided to join.
It appears, if we were to believe social media posts, no, I think dapat kasama si, isn't it Lito Lapid doon sa block na yun? Tapos
that was the surprise. I was thinking, sino ba ito? But when there was picture taken of the minority, he wasn't there.
No. 5 lang sila.
So really, the minority actually gained more heavies on their side compared to the 19 Congress when you had Coco Pimentel and Risa. I mean, having Senator Soto, Loren Legarda, and Ping Lacson. Yeah. Ping, he's the guy for budget, he's the guy for national security. Loren did a while chairman of the finance committee. So that would be a very, very interesting minority.
Right. So the 5 are Senator Soto, Senator Ping Lacson, Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Risa Ontiveros, and Mig Zubiri. Yeah, he's the 5th one. Yeah. All right, let's go to Dean. What about you? What do you think of the formation of the 20th Congress?
I think there were no surprises. As expected, Speaker Martin was re-elected as Speaker and Cheese as Senate President. The only question in my mind is whether or not Cheese can hold on for the rest of the 3-year term.
This early on you're questioning that.
Because with respect to the Speaker, it was unanimous, 296 votes. But I was told that it was 12-12 before the voting, but it became 19-5. So it may be an indication that, I'm not making any guess, but the only question to my mind is whether or not Cheese can hold on for the rest of the term.
Even in the past, would you say, Malou, that mas unstable yung Senate presidency than the speakership?
Yeah, because the numbers are pretty much just 24.
Mas madali palitan ng Senate president,
di ba?
No? Yeah.
Compared to the House, you really have to, measure of the majority is tremendous in the House.
Okay. So, but Dean Nilo was saying that you heard 12 prior to voting. I didn't hear about that.
I was told that Cheese had 18, but then there were discussions, it became 12-12, until, of course, we're 19-5 in favor of Cheese Cordero.
Did you hear
about that? I heard about that. I heard about that. That was why I was waiting for who's... I mean, Mig Zubiri stood up to nominate.
Okay.
And I was thinking another one would be coming in.
With your indulgence, Dean and Malou, the president's chopper has arrived. He's already walking the Batasan complex. Sure. Of course, at 3:30, this is around the time that we did expect and always expected somehow the arrival of the president. He will be met by the AFP Chief of Staff and, of course, also the Sergeant at Arms of both the Senate and the House. And as we are seeing, he is being escorted by the AFP Chief of Staff past the honor guards. From here, as tradition dictates, the AFP Chief of Staff will be relieved of his duty and replaced by the Sergeant at Arms of the House, symbolizing the independence of the legislature rather. And then here are the courtesy hellos, the highs from members of both houses of Congress, what we're seeing at the moment. And then, of course, they will proceed to the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office, or PLLO, which actually serves rather as the press office of the House. As you can see, President Bongbong Marcos there arriving at the House of Representatives, the Batasan Pambansa. Okay, that is where the chit-chat, this is where the chit-chat will happen, kasama yung mga leaders that have been elected this morning in the House and also over there at the Senate. All right, a bigger picture there, Malou and Dean. We can see, of course, the Speaker there, the son of the President, Majority Leader Sandro Marcos. You can see, of course, the First Lady and the other children. J.J. Suarez also there. He was the one that nominated the House Speaker. Yeah. And, of course, that is the plenary as we see it. We are expecting President Marcos to address the nation at 4 p.m. And, of course, there's a lot of expectations and talks on what to expect on the 4th President's State of the Nation address. All right, let's go back to our guests while we give you a feel and a look, live video there, of the plenary inside the Batasan Pambansa. So, Malou, you were saying you heard about that, but anyway, again, water under the bridge. But it's just, I guess, a little telling when Dean was saying that ang tanong doon kung gaano siya katagal mananatili sa
Sana di ako maintrigan. But that's the usual question for the Senate President.
Hindi naman, intriga ba yan? Kapag
Hindi naman.
pumasok ang
Oo. Realidad ng politika
Reality
sa Senado.
yan. Pag siguro sinabi mo pa sa speaker yon baka pa. Kasi nga, mas mahirap tanggalin ang speaker.
Right.
All right, expectations, Dean, sa SONA.
Sa SONA,
In the light of course, what happened last Friday, that Supreme Court decision, my first question as Dean, do you think the President will even discuss this in his State of the Nation address?
Probably with respect to institution, trust in the institution, that we have to respect the Supreme Court decision. We may disagree with it, we may agree or disagree, but you have to respect because Supreme Court has already spoken. My interest is, I've been counting the number of times that the President got rounds of applauses. In the first SONA, he got 90 rounds of applause with one standing ovation. 2023 reduced to 60, but came back 2024 with 120 rounds of applauses and 2 standing ovations.
Okay.
The year he banned Pogo.
Yeah.
I do not know this year how many rounds of applause will he get and how many standing ovations he would like to get. But of course, SONA is not based on applauses, right? It's based on resonating with the Filipino people. SONA is basically serving 3 purposes. It's a report card, a policy blueprint, same time political messaging. So we expect the President to tout, not to announce his accomplishments. I think he'll be very strong on infrastructure, on digital transformation, investment diplomacy, international engagement. But I would like to hear also the President, what is he going to do with respect to flood control,
Right.
the traffic, making price affordable to the Filipino people. And then blueprints, what will be his legacy for the remaining 3 years? He is anchored right now in digital transformation, so will he be pushing for it further? And then political messaging, there has to be something inspiring to the Filipino people. It may be wishful thinking, but I just wish, as a Filipino, that the President will say, let's petition the ICC to return the President here in the Philippines. I am offering my hand to the Vice President. Let's again work hand in hand for the good of the country. Let's bring back President Duterte to the Philippines. It may be wishful thinking, but as a Filipino, I hope and I wish he would say that.
I will clarify, that is what you wish
Yes.
the President would say. to offer his hand of
of
reconciliation.
reconciliation, the Vice President, and then petition the ICC to return the
And
President
even
of the
ask the
Philippines.
ICC to return.
It's wishful thinking, but as a
Yes.
Filipino, I certainly would wish that.
Malu.
I will join
that a
the
shock?
dean.
Was
No,
that a
I will
surprise?
join the dean with this wishful thinking. Yes, I would want. I mean, the country is so tired of all this politicking, in all this bashing and identifying people as green, yellow, pink, etc. We stand by the Philippine flag, and I hope he addresses that issue because there are several elephants in the room. One is the ICC, the other one is the Supreme Court and the impeachment, and third really is the legacy. Where are you going to bring this country? We're on the midterm. They've had a bad election midterm. So they have a very, very bad press briefer who kind of dilutes the statement of the president by a default and blame it on a Duterte. I don't think the nation deserves that kind of dialogue. I hope the president will address the middle class.
Sorry, before you go there, because you mentioned a number of topics, just to kind of focus on that a little bit more. First, you said, I wish he would address the ICC. What
Yeah.
exactly do you want him to address regarding the ICC?
What the dean said, that, I erred, but let me correct the error. Let me address the people and bring him back. And I direct the DOJ to file the necessary cases, if there are cases. I mean, we cannot right a wrong by another wrong. That has to be part of his leadership. That, something happened,
Okay.
it is not
So
exactly...
admit to what you were saying is his mistake.
Yes,
In
yes.
cooperating with the Interpol.
In directing.
Because of the ICC
That's
arrest
right.
warrant. Okay, and then the impeachment.
And the impeachment and the Supreme Court, the reason why it is supreme is because there is no entity higher than the Supreme Court. When the gods of Padre Faura
yeah.
talk,
We all listen.
we only, especially lawyers.
Yes.
So please listen to them. I know it's going to be very hard because we are very definite with our, things where we stood for.
Right.
So.
All right. There's still a lot to discuss, but we need to take a short break. The president already has arrived at the Batasan Pambansa. His presidential chopper landed in the complex at around 3:30 in the afternoon. He was met by both leaders from both houses of Congress. And are these still live videos that we're showing right now? These are still live videos wherein the president will be staying there for maybe a couple of more minutes, having his picture taken with members or leaders of both houses of Congress. And of course, for the Senate President Chis Escudero stays as the president of the Senate, and Martin Romualdez keeps his post also as Speaker of the lower house. All that happened this morning during the opening of the first day of the first regular session of the 20th Congress. And of course, many of the representatives of both houses of Congress, members of the diplomatic corps are already there, and the President's Cabinet Secretary is already there waiting for the President's State of the Nation address, the fourth. Di Nilo and Malou, pag-usapan pa natin. I cut you a while ago. You were talking about some social issues that need to be discussed, Malou. Di ba napag-usapan na natin yung impeachment? Sabi mo nga,
Impeachment.
dapat palagay mo...
Supreme Court, the elephants in the room, Supreme Court, the impeachment.
Then you were talking about food prices na.
Food prices, baha, corruption. These are things that are very important, especially to the middle class, because it's really the middle class who are, kind of holding this nation together. Not really the 1%. The 1% can go either way, but the middle class will have to stay in the country and really decide for themselves whether they will follow or not.
Tinilo, what about you? Yung mga siguro malapit sa
wish list,
sikmura
yeah.
ng mga Pilipino.
Well, every SONA dwells on gut issues.
Yeah.
In the economic realities that Filipinos like us face on a daily basis, making prices more affordable, of course, education, food security, fighting corruption. But just a short notification, by the way. Malou earlier said the president should sort of acknowledge having made a mistake. No,
Oh, yeah. This is with regards to the ICC
on my part,
issue.
not necessarily for the president to acknowledge having made a mistake or having erred, but more for national reconciliation and unity, without having to acknowledge
It's
any.
very
but just
important to
petition
address that, because if he's
the
going to
return of the
forget that,
president.
then there's something wrong with the state of the nation, right?
Well,
Yeah, okay, just a clarification there. You do not expect him to say, nagkamali ako.
in the
what
interest
you
of
were
the
hoping.
country, for sake of national reconciliation and unity, let us petition the ICC to return or to bring back the former president to the country.
All right, but of course, if that ever happens, as you said, wishful thinking, that has been, there have been some resolutions or appeals in the Senate regarding
Senate.
what you said, no?
Several.
Dean Nilo. I think there's about at least
Several.
3 of them.
Yes.
But on the other side, they say, wala na sa jurisdiction natin ito. Ang kaso, nasa International Criminal Court na sa The Hague, Netherlands. Paano yun?
But the act of petitioning the ICC will be seen by the Filipino people as an attempt to reconcile rather, with the Duterte family.
Even if it might
Even
not
though
have...
it may be acted upon favorably by the ICC. It's the gesture more that counts rather than the action on the part of the ICC.
All right. Pag-usapan natin yung baha. We were talking about it during the break. There was also an editorial that we were talking about a while ago sa Inquirer.net na lumabas yung, if I recall, the title was Billions Down the Drain. In fact, also Senator Ping Lacson was talking about 1 trillion pesos lost to corruption
10 years ago, I think.
since 2011.
Yeah.
1 trillion daw. I haven't read the full story on this, pero marami din talaga nagtatanong, Dean Malou, saan ba talaga napupunta yung pera sa mga flood control projects? What should be done about this?
I think number one is transparency and accountability. When you list your programs or your projects with DPWH should have a way of checking whether, flood control ba ito, drainage cleaning ba ito. It cannot be lumped together so that everyone will say, oh, I did this, I did that. There's got to be a way where certain projects should be viewed in the overall design for, let's say, Metro Manila. It cannot be by district because Metro Manila does not honor political boundaries. Flood does not honor political boundaries. And you really need people to just pinpoint saan ba yan. And the people can actually check whether, ginawa ba yan o wala bang bahang ganyan. I mean,
Hindi lang ginawa ba yan? I think, Malou, dapat ginawa ba yan ng tamang specification?
That's right,
Di ba? Kasi
that's
pwede
right.
nating sabihin na meron kang, kunwari lang, I'll put a very small number, 1 million pesos for a flood control or para sa pumping station, for example. Ako, personally, ang gusto kong malaman, what are the specifications? Paano nyo ni-utilize yung 1 million na yan? Kasi dyan nila sinasabi...
saka kung yung 1 million, talagang 1 million ang bumaba.
Exactly.
Diba?
Kasi nga, ang sinasabi, 30% umano, or a certain percentage is lost to corruption.
At saka siguro, Pinky, ilang beses nag-pumping station dyan sa lugar na yan. Kasi kung every year, every appropriations, may pumping station dyan sa lugar na yan, abay, sandali lang, para namang wala kang economies of scale at buong buhay mo, diyan ka lang nagpa-pumping station. There's got to be a way where hindi ko sinasabing corruption-free. It's just that kailangan natin masabi sa taong bayan saan linagay yung peso na kinontribute ko para wala kaming baha. Alam mo, ang nakakatuwa, ang Marikina. Ang Marikina, binabaha parati, pero ang dali nilang natuto, ang dali nilang nag-adapt, ang dali nilang nag-innovate. Bakit ang Manila, ang Quezon City at ibang mga lugar, Valenzuela, may baha pa rin doon. Sir, sa inyo, sa malapit sa inyo, may baha pa rin. Di ba? These things, we cannot move as a country if every time predictive naman yung typhoon. Alam natin 20 typhoon a year.
Predictive at kailangan, iniisip na natin that it's much stronger than the last time.
We cannot blame climate change. It's going to be very
We know
bad.
there is climate change.
Yes.
Yeah. What could be done, Dean Nilo? Hindi ho kaya maganda magkaroon na ng Senate investigation or House investigation hinggil
Ako, I have a proposal. I mean, 40 years old pa na ako. Problema na yung traffic tsaka bahay. 60 na ako ngayon. Same problem, no? There has to be a master plan. Thailand took 7 years to address the traffic problem. 7 years. But it's done. It's finished. Of course, Bangkok before was worse than Manila. But Bangkok has improved tremendously. But my suggestion is let it be a private sector initiative.
PPP.
The best businessman in the country, with the blessing of the president, will be the one to implement the project. Because we have to acknowledge the government has failed in this regard. I mean, this has been a problem for so many years. They have not solved it. So I would say they failed in this regard. So let be a private sector initiative.
So paano yan? Kasi even for 2025, and then the 2026 budget is about to be tackled, paano yan? Wala na sa nasa DPWH but bidded out to private?
I'm sure there'll be many businessmen be willing to spend their own money to solve this problem.
Pero di ba, Pinky, it's in your show where Architect Palafox talk about that plan na years ago, meron ng
70s
plano.
pa.
Master plan,
Hindi lang natin ginagawa.
Sabi niya 1976 pa lang daw.
Yeah.
May master plan na.
May master plan
Kaya
na.
ngayon din ang tanong ko, bakit parang walang pumapansin noon?
Mukhang na-politicize yun.
But it's an interesting discussion because even in that editorial that I was talking about, billions down the drain, I think in the end, it was saying something like there was actually a master plan because you're talking about a unified master plan. Last year, nagkaroon po ng hearing sa House regarding a typhoon, much like the one na-experience po natin dito. And the DPWH was called back then.
That's right.
And the secretary actually admitted that there is from my recollection, no unified master plan.
Yes.
Can you imagine we do not have a unified flood control master program? Paano like you were saying kanina, we are working independent of each other.
Di ba si MMDA has his own direction, si DPWH has their own direction, and every local government unit, that's 17 in Metro Manila, have theirs. So, do we now go to Metro Manila elected governor so that there is command and control? Or do we now allow each and every LGU to talk it among themselves and say, paano ba natin
Dito sa
gagawin
Metro
ito?
Manila Council.
Yeah.
But also, that would be, I wonder if they would even
Consider it.
grant that, consider that particular suggestion. Sorry, I digress. So in the end part of that editorial, it said that there was actually a master plan during the time of Pinoy. So sabihin po natin 2010.
But one-third finished only, yeah?
Exactly. So we read the same thing. Only one-third was finished. And then it said, I wonder if the Marcos administration would be, there was a word that was used, to complete. Tapusin sana ito. Kasi hindi natapos within the 6 years.
It's foreign funded eh.
That one, I'm still, I'm not quite sure
It's a
anymore.
foreign funded thing. Ang problema lang kasi dito sa ating administrasyon, inalis yung counterpart ng foreign funded.
Okay.
So,
All right. So those are some of the issues possibly that will be discussed dahil nga tuloy-tuloy yung pag-ulan natin itong nakaraang linggo at yung habagat. The President now making his way inside the plenary to, of course, address the public, the members of both houses of Congress, the diplomatic corps, obviously all of us dito po sa kanyang fourth State of the Nation address. We were talking about it a while ago. Last year, there was, 2 standing ovations, and I remember clearly, well, it was definitely the Pogo. Yung sinabi po ng Pangulo na, sinulat ko pa po ito dito eh. Ang sabi po niya, effective today, all POGOs are banned. Are hereby instruct PAGCOR to wind down and cease the operations of POGO by end of the year. Yan po, Dean Nilo, yung isa sa mga standing ovation niya.
Yep.
And I think the other one was the West Philippine Sea. Yung sinabi po niya na ang West Philippine Sea ay hindi katang-isip lamang atin ito. Yun din ang tumayo po ang ating mga mambabatas
So I have
And,
to count. Applause na.
Gave him a round of applause. So they say that the president, pinaghandaan daw niya talaga to, very detailed, supposed to be this State of the Nation address. Let's all remember, the president just arrived a couple of days ago, hindi ho ba, from the United States with a state visit with U.S. President Donald Trump. And let's listen in. All right. That was, about an hour and 15 minutes of the speech of President Bongbong Marcos. Excuse me, medyo nahinga lang ako ng konti. So yeah, quite, how would we describe it? A little bit tame, I guess, in the beginning, and then a punch towards the end of the speech. Of course, Malou, Dean, Nilo, and I were talking about the flood control, the flood issue, because of the 4 typhoons that hit the country and the Habagat. And finally, we actually heard the President talk about it. Very important. Ulitin na lang natin, Dean, Nilo, and Malou, what the President said. Tungkol doon sa mga flood control projects, he wants a list from the past 3 years
That's right.
that should be submitted to his office para pag-aralan ito. Maganda yung mga sinabi niya, tigilan na yung mga for the boys, mahiya naman kayo sa mga binaha, mahiya naman kayo sa mga ating mga anak na taong bayan at ating mga anak na that eventually will have to pay for all the debt that is incurred because of these flood control projects. Kahit si Dean tsaka si Malou, si Malou pumalakpak nung
Pumalakpak ako para nag-iiba ng hangin para sa akin.
Sige nga, sabihin mo yung sinabi mo.
Oo, alam mo, natutuwa ako. Nung umpisa, ako'y nalulungkot dahil parang it's the usual State of the Nation address. Bago dumating siya dun sa spiel niya na mahiya naman kayo, it was like, yes, you have a listing of all these promises, but at the end of the day, where will I get the money? Because there was nothing on corruption. But when he segued to the flood control and his demeanor and his facial expression changed, and he was telling the members, mahiya naman kayo, paulit-ulit. It's a reiteration of mahiya naman kayo, mahiya naman kayo, mahiya naman kayo. That to me was the State of the Nation. And I thank him for saying that because that is what Filipinos feel about this thing.
Mahiya naman kayo. Alright.
So I think that's the line of the year. Mahiya naman kayo.
Yeah, di ba?
Well, I counted number of applauses.
Dean, yes,
so
was the one who
121 rounds of applauses.
Wow.
120?
And 121.
Better than the first 3.
And 2 standing ovations.
Yeah.
Dalawa pa rin.
Yes.
So, not very different from last year when you counted 120.
120 and the standing
2
ovation, that's
standing
right.
ovations. So, maganda yung sinabi niya dahil as mentioned a while ago, for those of you who might have just joined us, the 3 of us were actually really talking about it. Sa lahat ng mga nanguna, sa lahat ng pera po natin na ginamit sa mga flood control projects, ito ay siguro, it raised awareness many years for the past many years, but especially this one kasi it happened right before the President's State of the Nation address, and ang dami talagang binaha at ang daming naging problema. Para kasi, no, Dean, Malou, palala siya ng palala. And we knew this all along, that the typhoons will be stronger. Even the President actually mentioned that in his State of the Nation address last year. Tsaka yung maganda yung sinabi niya na they will file cases against those responsible,
including
pero sinabi niya,
contractors.
contractors,
He will prosecute,
including
including the contractors.
pero
Who
ano
have
dapat
denied the
yung
government.
bago yung contractor?
Audit and review of government projects, and then make it online, available to the public.
At saka
to be
kahit
accessed.
kung yung ghost, sinabi niya
Ghost
kung wala.
projects.
Oo.
check nila lahat.
Sa listahan niya, ang haba ng sinabi niya doon, yung meron, nabawasan, at ghost. Malaking bagay yun.
Meron
At saka alam mo,
nabawasan, pangit yung quality.
quality, oo.
Hindi kasi-
Tapos yung nawala, talagang wala. Gumanon siya, di ba? At saka ang maganda pang isa na sa tingin ko dapat palakpakan natin lahat. Nakita po
Restore the
natin what
budget.
happened to the GAA 2025, and he said, if you pass a GAA which is different from the priorities of my administration under the National Expenditure Program, ibabalik ko yun sa inyo. At kahit tayo ay magkaroon ng reenacted budget,
I don't mind, sabi niya.
that is very strong, especially in the light of he's supposed to submit his NEP by 30 days, August. So let's see how Congress is going to act on that.
So siguro balikan natin, Dean and Malou, for context. No? Yung NEP kasi, it's called the National Expenditure Program. Yan po ay nanggagaling sa gobyerno. Kunwari, yung DILG, yung DSWD, they all submit a budget. Kinakala po yan, pinagsasama-sama at lalabas, for example, 6 trillion pesos, 7 trillion pesos. And then that is given to Congress, and then Congress studies this, kaya po nagkakaroon ng mga budget deliberations sa mga chair ng mga different committees, and then dito po nagkakaproblema sa BICAM. I wish, though, the President had mentioned something about the BICAM because there's been a lot of appeal from the public to make it more transparent. Parang hindi niya ata nasabi yun, ano? There was no talk about that. But there was a warning, as Malou and Nilo were saying that if it's not aligned with my budget, I'm not going to pass it. I will veto it.
I will veto it.
Right.
I will return it to Congress.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, and also he dealt on topics that resonated to the common masses, no? Food security, employment opportunities, adequate healthcare,
Yung healthcare.
public transportation, connectivity, and then of course the legacy project on transformation, digital transformation. If he can implement all of this,
And if the money is there,
it's very ambitious. I mean, it resonates with the Filipino people. If he can implement, well, we will give the President standing ovation.
Yes.
And
In
of course,
fairness, it was very detailed.
very detailed.
very detailed na towards the end ang comment ko kay Pinky, asan yung punchline? Wala pa ako narinig. So ang una kong dating sa akin yung punchline, the national athletes. Because usually during sports activities, we are united as a nation. Nung sinabi yung mga atleta, no, talagang parang yun ang parang euphemism niya sa unity, that there are several ways of looking at unity. Example, itong sports development natin, itong mga atleta natin. But he was quiet about the Supreme Court, the impeachment, and the ICC. Yung elephants in the room, I guess, this SONA is more of looking forward, moving forward. And
Making the lives of the Filipinos better. But
Yes.
let's not forget, he started it with the elections. The result of the elections was
and there was a line there
wake-up
that
period
I
para sa
learned
kanila.
from
Wake-up call,
you.
rather.
Oo,
Yeah.
I learned from you. So interesting yung 3 taon po, no? Ako kritiko ng administrasyon, pero for someone to say I learned from you in the past 3 years, I think that in itself, hindi malalim pero ordinaryong tao, parang alam ko po nagkulang ako, natuto na ako sa inyo. So that is something that I will bring at least for the whole year, looking forward to what he said today.
what? How would you describe that? Is that humility?
Yes,
okay.
yes, humility, and to a certain degree, it's really very hard to be president of this country.
Well, you know, I'm a professor, so I grade students accordingly. So
Okay.
if I have to grade the president in this SONA, I would have to do at least 94. At least
really?
94.
Bakit hindi mo pa ginawang
At
95?
least, because you know, in UP and UST, it's difficult to give 1
that's
point.
true.
Nobody gives flat one, right? So
That's right.
at
Ano,
least
how is
1.25.
it? Sorry, how is it, Dean?
It's difficult to get flat one in of course,
UP.
the college that I teach, so UP and UST. High 1.5 is usually the highest. So I'm giving the president basically 1.25. So this is very high.
All right, we're just going to check the situation. Move forward with Hannah's report. Dean, Nilo, and Malou, ano yung mga hindi nasabi? Doon muna siguro tayo kasi tama si Hannah, no? I actually forgot about that. He did not mention illegal online gambling because there was, people were wondering, will the president finally talk about this, and will online gambling be stopped in its totality, or will it be regulated? Of course, PAGCOR was saying kailangan regulated ang online gambling and just stamp out illegal gambling. Di Nilo and Malou, you were talking about EDSA. There was no
Yep.
mention, no,
First,
of EDSA.
I think no mention
EDSA
about
rehab.
how to solve the perennial traffic
traffic.
problem. There has to be specific timeline. Of course, the president acknowledges the problem, but I think it's short on timeline on how to completely address this issue once and for all. I think likewise no mention about the West Philippine Sea, given the more aggressive stance being taken by the Chinese government. I hope, but I did not find it in the speech, how to adopt a framework to link curriculum design to the demands of the industry. And likewise, nothing about it attracting investors, easing of doing
Ease of
business
doing
in the
business,
Philippines.
yeah.
I mean, based on my notes, those are the things
Yeah.
that I wanted the president to talk about, but did not.
And actually, the president talked about that app, yung ginagamit po natin,
eGov.
the eGov, di ba?
Yeah.
Actually, I personally just use it when I have a need to
Travel,
travel.
yeah, yeah.
But for other things, I really don't know how to use it. So when the president was talking about it, na sayang, we should maximize this, binalikan ko po siya. And, you know, it was not easy. In fact, it kept asking for my PIN kasi nagre-reset siya ng nire-reset. I don't know if people started to look at the eGov app. I mean, can you imagine if much of us, more of us actually use it? Anong kalalabasan
It's
ito?
supposed to be a super app, but the way it is done is it's not user-friendly, especially for those who do not have smartphone. Secondly, there is no guide. You just have to learn and, you know. Third, it hangs.
Yun na nga.
A
Yun
lot
ang
of
nangyari
times.
kanina,
Yeah?
3 beses when the
Oo.
president
So
was
connectivity.
mentioning it. Yeah.
So if you have a super app and then connectivity is an issue where he talks about connecting all the schools and everything, that would be problematic. He has not signed Konektadong Pinoy. That is a bill pending with him, passed by both chambers. There's one camp saying veto it. There's another camp saying that's the only way where you can, you know, upgrade everything. He also forgot discussions on the open market and anything to do with the U.S. If you look at the SONA today, it's majority in Filipino, majority domestic issues, majority very micro. You wouldn't expect a president to be dishing those micro data. But I guess he wanted to do that to show to everyone that he knows the problem. That's one, and he has a solution. What I really liked about his speech was he spent some time talking about the successor generation. That it's okay if you do not have the degree, but if you get a national certification through TESDA, through TechVoc, you're okay. You can be competitive. That one is kind of going into that direction.
Pero kailangan ng tamang implementation dyan.
Oo. At saka yung national certification, ganun pa rin eh. May stigma pa rin sa mga nakapag-aral na may
graduate ka ba?
degree. Oo,
Yeah.
ganun pa rin. No? I like the health for all, but tends to be promising too much because you end back to the budget itself. Yung sinabi niya, zero billing. Maganda yon kasi continuation. Just to fact check him on the BARM, it is not true that it is all peace and quiet there. The BARM, what do you call this? The MILF Central Command issued a resolution last July 19 stopping decommissioning because government has not fulfilled their part of the bargain. So that is problematic in the light of BARM elections this October.
All right.
And I also like what he said, dealing with natural disasters, automatic na dapat yan. So I don't know if that will be implemented, na automatic na dapat yan, na dapat there's synergy, there is implementation and action kaagad, but he said automatic na dapat yan.
He talked about education, also improving the quality of education, something he also talked about during last year's State of the Nation address, helping teachers, and internet in all public schools. Pinangako po ng Pangulo yon this State of the
At saka yung
Nation
school
address.
building, di ba? He said he will finish.
40,000 more classrooms by the end of his term.
Good luck.
Pero PPP, Public-Private
Oo,
Partnership,
yeah.
ang gagawin nila dito.
I think that more and more we will see PPP rolling out as part of the infra solution.
And then of course, sports development. Medyo nagtagal din
Likewise,
siya sa sports
connectivity,
development.
There are two legacies, like the father. The love bus is like vintage Marcos Sr. And the athletes, the sports development. I was telling you, parang martial law noon dahil when we were young, we were mandated to do community exercises, getting involved with sports, etc., etc. So sabi ko parang
Is it deja vu for you, Malou? Deja vu for you? Deja
yeah,
vu?
di ba? Kasi we didn't want to, sweat and all. But it's a mixture of something that worked for the father, something that might work for him now, and then there is that, I've never seen him get mad. That's why that phrase na mahiya naman kayo is
Galit
kind of
siya,
telling
nakita
to
mo.
me. Kasi nakita mo nag-contort yung facial muscles niya. And the way he delivered it was really uncharacteristically BBM.
And then of course, what you mentioned a while ago, we talked about it. Kami po na nag-uusap kami during this speech. Very important of course, yung tulong sa mga kababayan natin in terms of health issues. To me, I want to find out more about it in terms of realistically what we are allowed and not allowed, what is really zero balancing. Although he made it clear, zero balance for all DOH hospitals.
Yes.
That's right.
Yun yung kanyang sinabi. And then, nandun naman po yun, and maybe PhilHealth should give us an updated version of those who need siguro health concerns on cancer, dialysis, etc., kidney transplant. Those were also mentioned by the President. We're still going to talk about insights and, of course, maybe just last few words from our guests, but we'll be taking another short break. And we are on our final stretch for the post-SONA analysis. Just final words from our guests. Let me start with Malou.
Thank you, Pinky, for having me here.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you to
Yeah.
Billionario. Again, there is a reason why citizens need to get involved, monitor, listen to such a State of the Nation address because we'll never know what surprises will come our way. Now there is a challenge. He is hearing us. So please stick to this narrative and let's prove that we can work together for our country.
Nilo.
Well, the President has clearly set out a very ambitious agenda. But at the end of the day, what matters is implementation. It requires political will and, of course, the support of everyone. Whether you're pro-admin or opposition, all of us, hand in hand, should work together for the good of our country. And again, the last point is legacy. If I am the President, what is my legacy to the Filipino people? When I think, for example, of FBR, what comes to my mind immediately is political stability, and then GMA's economic resilience, Pinoy good governance, Digong is law and order. What about our President? What does he want to contribute to the Filipino people in terms of legacy? I would say digital transformation, and of course, making the lives of the Filipino people much better.
He still has a couple of years left. Dean, good to see you. Maraming
Same here.
salamat po
Thank
sa
you for
inyong
having me.
oras. Malou, also pleasure. We'll see you again next year.
Hopefully.
Thank you to Dean Nilo Divina of the USC Faculty of Civil Law and Publicus Asia founder and political strategist, Malou Tiquia. And that wraps up our special coverage of the State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos